Right, this is our little water crane we're going to make. I'm going to show you the parts for it. It's a really simple one to make. What we use is these are drinking stoves, and as you see they've got elbows and T's, so you can make the bends in them. So, and plastic straws which we can cut down and spray, make any shape. We use rubber balls, which again are just from a local toy shop. Again, they can be just put in to get the balance weights and what have you. We use plastic tubing, which is in there. We use a couple of pieces of 4x board. We use a piece of 5mm and a piece of 3mm. And one black balloon, a long one. Again, we've just bought these from a local card shop. They cost very, very little, and of course you can get a couple of tubes out of that and that'll do for the actual hose pipe. And the other thing we did was we got some plastic wheels, steering wheels. We actually got these from a toy shop. They had some in the thingy. You can buy them from charity shops, old toy cars or whatever, just to get a little wheel to turn it on and off. And that's all you'll need to complete and build a little water crane. So we shall have a go and show you and me cutting the pieces out, and we'll build it. Right, that's the first piece, that's the base obviously. So what I've gone for is 6 inches by 1.25 inches. And then what I do then is just literally mark a small marker on the edge. So it's 1/8 and 1/8, 1/8 and 1/8. And just a couple of little lines. And then what I've done then is I've drawn a square in, and I'll cut this out, and this will be our part for the sink. So I'll cut this out next, and then you can see where I'm going for there. So just like cutting the windows, don't go all the way into the corners. The same with that way. Using the hook blade makes it a lot simpler. Excuse me. And same again. And then doing the same what we've always done. You just release the corners so it all comes out. Turn it round. Again. And again. Make sure you get every corner right to the corners, and you should find that will just pop out. Right, so there we are. So we've cut that part out, tidy it back up, so we've got everything nice and neat. I'd probably round that off the edge because water's going to run into there as an overflow, and the same with that one. And then the next stage is decide where you're going to put your pole. So you measure a 5/8, which is obviously the middle of that bit, and then a small line, and then I would have thought it somewhere like 1.25 inches would do me. So I'll draw one there and then give it an inch there to the centre of that one. So there's my 2 centre points, and then I'll measure When we built our water cranes, I used a thinner tube. Now the one we could find in the shops today is slightly thicker. Now obviously I've built a couple for my railway and I need some more, so you can either use the thinner if you can find it, if you prefer the thinner, or you can use the thicker one. It's whatever suits yourself. I think it looked just as good in either size, but the fact that we've already done these, we'll stick to this one. So we're gonna go with a slightly thinner. And the next stage is we'll make a sink to put into there. So we're going to make an inch square. And then we'll measure it into 8ths. And the same at the bottom. Draw them down. And then if we do an 1/8 at this end, and then every other one will be cut out. So it's that one, that one, that one, and then the same in the middle, that one, and that one. And then we can just cut them out. So the easiest way to do these is probably grab them, and then trim these out. Check on the back, which is the more stuck. That's it. And then we can trim that off. Drop that in there. And I need a tiny touch off the back edge, which is a little bit thicker. Remember, small cuts, straight blade. It does make it a lot easier. And just a touch more off, I think. I'll still take off that edge because it is a little bit wider. Like so. And that, with a bit of tidying up, will become our grate. So our next job is a little piece of the bigger tube, which you saw in the first pack. We're going to put this in and take that up to the right height to make the first part of the crane. So now we're going to measure that and get a drill to fit, so I can drill a hole into there and then a smaller hole into there. Right, there we are, that's our first piece. So there's our first piece into it, and our next stage now is to drill a hole in the balls. So what we're going to do is, we can get rubber, all different types. What we should do really is drill the first hole through this one. So this one can go into another piece of pipe, and then we'll put something on there just to make it so it can turn, obviously, in the thing. Now I'll have to machine a piece of brass. It's the only part you'd have to make for this, is because I actually turned a little bit of brass up to make a collar to fit in there and to fit in there, just so it rotates. Not that it's necessary, you could use a washer or anything to do the same job. So what I'll do now is I'll drill a hole in this one and show you how this goes on as well. I've gone so far in, just enough so we can get that piece in there. And then what we need then is the arm going across. So the easiest way now is to drill out. I drilled it so that was level with this, and then it gives me an idea where this goes in there. So the next thing now is to drill a hole all the way through on the thinner pipe, which is the one we've used for ours. Now you could make it out the thicker one, I don't see a problem with that, but as I've already done 2 or 3 on mine and I need a couple more, I'm going to stick with what I did originally. So now to get a drill to fit that part. Okay, what I need now is just a smaller piece at the back. So approximately inch, inch and a quarter. Whatever you think suits yours, the better. It's just a simple thing really. And just snap myself a piece off. That goes in the back. It does super glue, this type of thing, so it will work. The next stage is to put a balance weight on. So again, going back to the same drill size again, and we'll put a little balance weight, the balance weight on the back. So the next part is, don't drill all the way through. This one has drilled all the way through, so you can get it level. Cut the other piece down to soap, and now you can see where we're heading for a water crane. Obviously you've got to measure the height of your engines because it has to swing above them. Mine come in on the tanks about 5 or 6 inches on the Linton and Barnstables, and they're about 5 inches on the Garretts. So mine at 6 inches on there would be absolutely fine. And there's the first stage, and as you can see, we're now going to put the water column in, little bits and pieces, and we'll be there. So I'll carry on and do these bits. So I've cut another small piece off, approximately 3/4 of an inch, pop it in the end. I'm then going to put a bit of balloon on, whatever, again, it's whatever suits you. I reckon about 5 or 6 inches, you know, so it's not touching the floor but nearly touching the floor. Like so. Doesn't matter if it's curly or crinkly or whatever it is, that's how it would look. And that's taken approximately 4 or 5 minutes. And from here on I've got to make, like I say, a little brass thing for there. And once I've got this set up and in position, I shall, what you call it, cut some plastic card fins out just to put around the bottom to keep it, give it that little bit of a look. And take the steering wheel off this bit. Obviously it was out of a car, but I'll cut that bit off, put it on a bit of tube so it looks a bit more authentic. You need a little chain hanging down so people can manhandle it round, and then we glue it all together and give it a coat of spray, really. So what we're going to do now is just make some plastic card. Look at roughly where we want to be. Somewhere about there would look quite nice. 1.5 inches. So you want 4 pieces at 1.5 inches, and then measure them, or 2 pieces, sorry. Measure it diagonally between each mark, like so. Square that across. Square that across. Same again that way. This is really a simple thing to make. I think it looks pretty reasonable. It's cheap, doesn't cost a lot to make. Probably, I think the plastic piping costs about £2.99, and the plastic balls a couple of quid as well. The rubber balloons 50p, something daft like that, and a bit of plastic Formex is next to nothing. So you're looking probably £4 or £5 for all of it, and you could probably make 4 or 5. I mean, we bought 1 packet of these things tube, and I've got 4 or 5 water cranes out of it, which is more than enough for what I needed. I wanted one in each station, that was 3, and then 1 in the engine shed, and probably 1 in the big station, an extra 1 in the big station near, you know, at the end of the platforms. And it was quite easy to do, really. They're lovely. So now I'm just going to take that back out again. Just square myself off so it gives me some lines to work to. Just so I'm putting them on straight. Bit of super glue. Might as well glue it back in now. There's not going to do any more to. Nothing more needs to be done to it. Spray it. There we are. Get it square so it's standing up straight, and that is imperative. Look odd if it's leaning. That's it. And then just literally a little bit of super glue on each of these. And then just glue it onto there, like so. Keeping yourself nice and square. That's it. There's one. Same with that one. That was pretty good for me. I got it straight in, that one. Same on this side. sure it's square because it looks odd if it isn't. And the same with that one. That's it. Just give this a quick spray so I can pick it up and handle it and show you. There we are. That's that part done. As simple as that. Obviously you can paint this out of whatever you want to do. We've done one concrete. We've one of them we've put as pavers. It's whatever you fancy on it. I'll just leave mine just plain because it's simpler to do. The next stage is to make this little boss what goes in there. I wish I could think of an easier way to do this. One of the other ways is maybe try and make something to actually do it out of Formex. I'll have a go at that and see if I can do something with that. Right, so what I've done is, this is not how I'd normally do it, but I thought I'd do this because I know everybody's not got a lathe and all the machinery. I mean, when you look around here, there's more machines. I've got more machines than you can imagine, and it's a bit unfair when we're doing this on a tabletop. So I thought I'd stick to that format. So what I've done is I've cut myself a piece of Formex, little square, drilled a hole of this in it, and then just trimmed it round, and then just filed it, sanded it round. I found a pencil, believe it or not, what fits in the thicker tube, like so. Fits in nice and tight. So I'm going to cut a bit of pencil off. It's even got lines on, so it helps me, this one. I hope it wasn't Pat's best pencil. I don't think it was. Put a piece in there. Oh, in fact, put a piece in here first. Drop it in there. Drop it in that one. Maybe I'll super glue this in first. That's it. And there we are. And we've actually done. So that is a way of doing it. I mean, you could add a flange on it. You could look at the real thing, see if how bigger that was, a bigger flange, or things like that. But as a basic water crane, what 10 minutes work, 15 minutes work. I've got a little thing to make on here. To put the water wheel on for turning. Again, that could go in either a square or a piece of plastic tube. Probably just put a piece of plastic tube in and see what that looks like. So I'll do that bit next and we'll see what that looks like. So, a little bit of plastic tube in the bottom. We've cut the steering wheel off whatever that bit of column was. You can use a straight bar. There's a lot of them. I'd like a straight bar going across with an handle so you turn it that way. There was that type, so again it's whatever suits you, whatever you like, you can make. But this one, we like it like this, so it looks nice and simple. I don't know if my super glue comes out, that's it. So it's just a matter of a little bit of super glue on there. Sit that on the top. And that is literally an hour's work. You need a, we'd like to put a piece of chain on here. So we're going to drill a hole, fasten it through or whatever. But once that's sprayed, that'll look quite good. And like I say, once you pin it onto your board, it does rotate, but you'd never move them. I mean, they're just there as a, what you call it, something to look at. It just gives you a bit more into the engine sheds. And that is a simple water crane. And that's it. We've added a little bit of chain to the bottom. Obviously painting it, you paint it in your railways colours. I've given it a quick coat of just undercoat, spray undercoat. And I think that doesn't look that bad at all. I'm thinking it's quite reasonable. The rubber balls was just a bouncy ball. I do use, there is another one you can use which is a lot harder rubber. These are off a fishing rest. So if you go into your local fishing shop, you'll find them. They're on like a little piece of metal what screws to a pole, and pull them off. And they're really solid rubber, them. And I think they're a little bit better than the bouncy balls. But if all you can find is the bouncy balls, they will do the job. As you see, they are there. Painting it, you paint it your own colours, like I've just said. I expect some of you people out there are clever and do all the little. You could actually do a little. Little stove with the pipes on just to keep it warm in winter, to stop it freezing. Endless amounts you can do with it. It's not perfect, you know, by kit standards or anything like that, but it is a really, really good, cheap, simple, an hour's work, and we've come up with that. Hope you enjoy it.